Well, guys, I figured I should probably film an update. I haven't really posted anything in probably close to 2 weeks now. I started school again. Been a little busy with that. I haven't really gotten much done. I did manage to pick up an NV4500, which I then immediately sold. So hopefully that'll help finance some of the work on this. I took a trade on it, so I got to work on selling that. But I figure I should get 400 or 500 bucks toward this. Would be nice. Um, a couple of updates on this. First of all, you can see I just pulled the fan clutch off this, the whole fan assembly. I borrowed this tool from AutoZone. Definitely don't think you need it. Pretty sure I could have just gotten it off with a pair of channel locks there. It's not that tight. At least this one wasn't. You might have a different experience. I really don't know. It's possible that I think this water pump's new, so whoever put it on, this pump might not have put it on very tight. Big piece of news is I went ahead and purchased HP tuners with the help of some family and a friend who are also interested in it. It worked out splitting it 4 ways, which is only about 165 bucks each. Not much more than you'd pay somebody else to do the work. So that should be coming soon. I'm getting ready to try. I think I'm going to try and fit the engine in this today. I've decided, just for simplicity's sake, I'm going to go ahead and try cutting out this crossbar on the core here. Unfortunately, this truck is not like the older trucks I've worked on where the whole cork just comes right out. It's all part of the cab. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut the crossbar out, pull this piece out, and I'm probably going to take the bumper off too. But I'm going to work on fitting the engine and getting it welded in today. So that'll be one major step done. Once that's done, I still need to order a flex plate as well as a fuel pump and a couple of other odds and ends here. I'm going to have to be careful about getting fuel line. For those of you not familiar, E85 is really hard on normal rubber. You can't just go get fuel injection line. You've got to get something rated for E85. So I'll have to look for that. But other than that, I actually think I'm going to use the stock fuel lines on here. I don't know if you can see that upper line, or not the one with the hose on it, but the upper of the two lines, I believe is a fuel feed. And it appears to be a 3/8 hard line, which is the same size that the LSs ran from the factory. In fact, there's a user on YouTube, goes by Sloppy Mechanics. He's been making upwards of 1,000 wheel horse with the stock 3/8 and 7/16 lines on his Colorado. So I think I'm going to leave those for now, and if I end up having a problem, we'll deal with it then. But I think at least for the time being, that should be fine. If he can make that much power with those stock lines, I don't see why I couldn't handle at least a stock engine like that. Still no update on this 4L80 here. I haven't even touched it. I'll probably pull the torque converter out and bolt it onto the engine today, just for getting an idea of how it's going to fit. I really want to find out. Unfortunately, the cross member in this truck, see how well you can see down in there. That cross member is actually part of the front suspension. It actually holds the keys for the torsion arms, which means I can't just cut it out. So we're going to have to do some figuring about how to fit the transmission on that. I'm actually hoping by some miracle it actually ends up lining up pretty well. But we're going to find out. Let's see. I do also have a couple of other big projects going on down. I haven't shown you guys any of the stuff I work on down at school. I've got like I said, my 87 Blazer on 1 tons and an LS. Don't have too much going on with that soon, although I'm hoping to do some suspension change-ups to that. But we just started working. We picked up a set of axles for my buddy's 96 Cherokee, and we're going to be putting basically a full set of 1 tons. I mean, it's a Dana 50, but they're Super Duty axles. I'm going to be putting a Artec truss, actually something just very recently released, it seems like. Artec's got a truss for the Super Duty 50 and 60. Going to install that. We're also going to be putting on a frame plating kit, and got the matching Sterling 10.5. for the rear axle. So that should be starting here fairly soon. It should be an exciting project, so I'm going to be sure and get as much of that on video as possible. But I think I'm going to go ahead and take that wrench tool back to AutoZone, and then I'll work on getting this front torn apart a little bit more and see about fitting this engine in. So I'm going to go ahead and put on the new engine mounts. Taking these ones off first, of course. I'm going to go ahead and reuse the bolts from these. I also plan on taking off this AC compressor bracket, as I won't be using it and I'm sure it'll just get in the way, so go ahead and pull that off as well. Alright, and finally I'm also going to go ahead and pull off the collector extensions on these manifolds. I'm pretty sure the manifolds are going to have to come off too, but I'm going to try seeing what I can do without pulling that off. But I'm definitely going to go ahead and take off these extra pieces. So here are the new mounts. Pretty simple, just a polyurethane bushing, 2 plates on either side. I just have them tightened down to pull the bushings in right now. I do recommend I had to grease them up a little bit in order to get them to slip in easily. Plus it'll help prevent any rusting. These aren't exactly going to be moving that much, so grease isn't super important, but it does make installation a lot easier. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and cut the core support out. Alright, so I got the engine mount pedestals on the factory engine mounts cleaned off. Should be no paint left on them. So I'm going to go ahead and drop the engine, bolt the transmission up, and try fitting it in. Well, it looks like the exhaust manifolds are probably not going to clear, so I'm going to go ahead and pull them off. Alright, so I try squeezing the engine in. With the transmission on it, it's not going to fit. Unfortunately, the oil pan is a little too deep, and I can't get the oil pan past the engine cross member before the bell housing starts hitting on the top side of the transmission tunnel. So I'm going to pull it back out and pull off the transmission, and I'll try dropping it in without the transmission. Unfortunately, I do really want to have the transmission on it when I set the engine in place and actually weld the mounts, because obviously the location of the transmission is pretty important. Not only do I want to make sure I have the engine straight, good and square, but I also want to make sure I have the engine in a spot that the transmission will actually fit in the trans tunnel. Now it is totally possible I'm going to have to do some modification to the transmission tunnel to make it fit, but I'm going to pull it back out for now and we'll find out.